I'm Robert Firpo Capiello, Editor-in-Chief at Hospitality Technology, and I'm so pleased to welcome my guest to this conversation. Vijay Raghavan is Senior Director, Hospitality Vertical Portfolio Leader at Honeywell. Vijay, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, Robert. Thanks for having me.
It's so great to see you again. We've met at HTF and we've done webinars together. Really looking forward to this conversation. But first, I would like to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself to our hospitality technology audience. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you, Robert. This is amazing, and thank you for having me on your program here. And my name is Vijay Raghavan, as you introduced me. I have been in the hospitality industry for over 18 years. And previously within the brands, but then now I work for Honeywell on their hospitality vertical. I'm one of the portfolio leaders for on their global hospitality focused vertical. And my role here at Honeywell is to kind of think about, what are some of the opportunities that are out there? What are the gaps in the hospitality industry? How does the emerging technologies kind of is going to make an impact positively for the industry per se? And I look at all of these different products that we have and see how we can make that happen, right? How can we address those gaps and really help our owners and the brands achieve what they want to achieve from a KPIs perspective, or at the end of the day, the bottom line and how we can impact it. So my motto, if I don't save money, if I don't make money for the owners or for the brands, there's no point in working on it. That's my motto.
Nice, nice. Because the ROI of technology is a frequent topic of conversation in our offices, certainly. So what brings us together today is the Hospitality Technology 2026 Lodging Technology Study. It's based on a survey of hotel operators and especially the IT leaders and decision makers. Gives us a sense of the 2026 priorities, investments, and some of the challenges too. So I would love to start by just putting out a few of the top initiatives that hotel leaders identified in our survey. 88% identified driving guest loyalty as a top priority. Similarly, 88% identified increasing employee productivity. 83% said enhancing data security, and 81% said improving physical safety of guests and staff. And as you and I have discussed, all four of these align very much with what you do every day. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about the importance of these topics to hotel operators.
I think it's very, very important. These the top four that you identified, driving guest loyalty or in other words, how do we improve guest experience, right? And make it a competitive advantage. And the second one is like, how do I streamline my operations? How do I make my current employees' productivity go up? What can I do with complementing my employees with some of these technologies that are up and coming? And then finally, right, keeping our guests and staff safe. It's extremely important because otherwise your business is going to tank in like overnight, right? So we have seen that in many cases. And finally, in the day and age where data security is really sort of a highlight in everybody's concern list, right? It's so important that how do you protect data, and also with the compliance that we have from different geographies where we have to keep the data within the country, et cetera, et cetera. So very important points that hoteliers have raised, and what we see from your survey here as well. And one other thing that I would also like to call out on this list is, how do you reduce the cost of managing technology? That's also an interesting area we're working on. We are working on all of these different points that you mentioned. So yeah, I'm completely aligned, completely agree. And And obviously, no surprise, driving guest loyalty is number one. And how do I streamline my operations is number two. I'm not surprised about that at all. It kind of feel aligns with what I just said, right? Driving guest loyalty directly related to ROI, increasing employee productivity directly related to savings, right? So those two pretty obvious ones.
Yeah.
But the other two or three, it really sort of bolsters some of our assumptions in terms of what we think the industry is really thinking about each and every day that they wake up.
Yeah, and that idea of digital security and physical security and safety coming together increasingly through technology. Um, at the same time, hotel operators are telling us one of their top challenges is integration, legacy systems and integration. So I wanted to touch a little bit on, especially where physical safety is concerned. Um, what have you seen at Honeywell opportunities for solving for delivering world-class physical safety for guests?
Yeah, I mean, every day in and day out, this is one of the things that we are thinking about at Honeywell is look, Honeywell has got a lot of products in our catalog that applies to hospitality, right? So and specifically in terms of I'll take an example of let's assume there's a fire technology. Now Honeywell offers is one of the leaders in offering fire life systems, right? Fire life safety systems. We've got a product called Notifier, and that Notifier is one of the top selling fire life systems out there. And today, what is happening is that fire life system kind of goes in and sits and it does everything that a fire life system is supposed to do. But then again, we also have on our catalog Onity door locks. I mean, Honeywell owns Onity, right? So because of that, we have got the door locks in there, and then we have got the in-com thermostats. That's also a part of what we do. In addition to our camera systems and security systems that we have got. But if you look at a situation such as a fire alarm going off, right? I've been in three myself in my lifetime, two at a luxury hotel, two at luxury hotels, and one at a limited service hotels. And as we know, it's utter chaos when a fire life system, when the system gets triggered because of whatever reason, right? There's alarm going off, the pager system is saying what to do, et cetera, et cetera. And I was just thinking about this, going, okay, what if our fire system is able to trigger certain events on the lock system or the thermostat or some of those? How can we kind of bring these things together just by making sure that the systems are talking to each other, right? So just imagine this situation. We have all flown on planes. And the first thing that they say is follow the video, or a flight attendant over there says this is how you need to evacuate, et cetera, et cetera. But during a fire alarm situation at a hotel, it is utter chaos. I've been in three, like I said, and it's absolute chaos, right? People are going everywhere. You tell them, or the pager system says, do not go use the elevators, use the staircase. But then if you go outside and look, there is a long line in front of the elevators. So the point is, people, even though there is an evacuation plan, when every second matters, people don't look at the evacuation plan and say, let's follow these evacuations. They just run out and get to the nearest exit, right? What if we are able to leverage for example, the LED lights on our Onity locks that says, light it up in such a way that if the guests are going the wrong way, it's all red color. If the guests are going the right way, it's all green color. So maybe use that green colored LED lights as a way for as an evacuation plan, right? And that is so important that we can do. And like I said, we have so many different products that we can actually, if there is smoke, right, shut off the HVAC system. Why is the HVAC system running, right? It kind of circulates the same smoke over and over again. Or, we can, when every second matters and the fire engineer comes up to the door and knocks on the door, why is he knocking on the door? Why can't we just automatically open all the doors? Maybe some of these things are happening, maybe some of these things are not. But these are the things that we are thinking about in terms of how do we add value? How can we value engineer these different products that we have, so that it can make a positive impact when every second matters in the example that I just gave you. So that's kind of how we are thinking about in terms of integrations.
Mhm.
How we can make these different things talk. And obviously, it's just one example. There are a slew of other examples that we have got that at Honeywell we're thinking about to see how we can make a positive impact to physical safety and digital safety while making sure the we are continuing to drive guest loyalty and improving operational efficiency.
Mhm. I love that example in particular because it's an example of how integration isn't just just more efficient or better for operations and guest experience, but literal physical safety gets folks' attention, and that's one of the things I enjoy about that particular conversation.
Yeah, and we all know how chaotic it is. So why can't we make it streamlined? Why can't we provide an evacuation plan that is not only on a piece of paper, but really implemented and guiding people when they actually need it?
Yeah, yeah, it sounds great. Um, I wanted to touch a little bit on emerging technologies. That was part of our survey. Our lodging technology survey was asking leaders to identify which emerging technologies they feel have hold the most potential. And probably not surprising with everything we've been hearing this year. 94%, which is a very high percentage for this particular survey that I've been stewarding for a few years now. 94% of hotel operators identified AI for business analytics as as their number one most promising emerging technology. Similarly, 82% identified generative AI for marketing and social media, which we know a lot of hotels are already doing. 82% mentioned digital tipping completely from another perspective, but potentially very important to uh, for guests and for staff, and especially the staff who are depending on
Staff
daily
motivation.
wages. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about, especially where AI is concerned. This has been the year of AI in so many conversations, at least.
Yeah.
Love to hear what you think.
AI, obviously, like you said, is the hottest topic, right? And it's been the hottest topic for the last year or even two. And folks, as we are sort of understanding, first of all, 2 years ago, it was more understanding what is AI, what can AI do, and then last year was spent understanding what is generative AI and how generative AI can actually, help. And I think this year, as I see in 2025, I've seen companies kind of really putting two and two together to say, how can I make 1 + 1 = 3, leveraging this technology, right? So it is more around implementation, more around where is it that I can really make an impact with artificial intelligence. Um, Incidentally, last week I was hosting a panel at a luxury conference in Vegas, and I had a panel of folks from the various brands. And one of the examples, rather, the theme was, at least the result of the conversation was, hey, yes, we've got AI. AI is great, but is AI really mature to be put in front of the guest? However, AI seems to be pretty mature to be utilized for all things back of the house, because the analytics, which is, it's no surprise to me because it says AI in analytics, right? Analytics is all around, how do you take the data and the terabytes and terabytes of data that you have about your guests, the different factors that make this person happy, and kind of tying it back to guest experience. What kind of intelligence can we get, leveraging the data that we have got, to enhance the guest experience with a human in the loop? right? So it's really not like, hey, you go and do whatever you need to do. Here's the AI, and here's the guest. You guys interact, and then come to me when you need me. But that's not how folks are kind of thinking about it, right? So leverage AI to mine the data, to do all of the, to get the intelligence from that data, and then put a human in the loop, equip this human in the loop to have all the intelligence that we got from the AI and from the data, to present it to the guest in a way that the guest is actually not expecting it, right? And that's where the guest experience kind of goes up. So just giving a quick example that I can think of. Okay, this Robert's coming from Atlanta to New York for a meeting, and we know that his flight has been going through some issues because of delays and things like that. Because New York has got, I don't know, some kind of weather pattern that has caused a delay, right? He's frustrated. He's in a rush to go to his meeting. The last thing you want is to kind of, while he's trying to check into his room, delay his time, right? Maybe have everything ready for Robert. Maybe knowing what Robert has gone through on during the day, or maybe leverage his past, data, or past stay experience, and curate that in such a way that his experience is streamlined by putting a human in the loop at the front desk who can actually leverage the data and make the make Robert's experience, or take it to the next level, right? I see that's where I see it in terms of it now. Of course, in 2026, I'm curious to see how this is going to take off, and what are all the other things that we can do. And I'll give you an example of how Honeywell uses it as well. We've got a product called Predictive Maintenance, right? So one of the things that we leverage generative AI to say, hey, here is a problem with this particular oven in the kitchen. It doesn't work. There is an engineering ticket, and it automatically creates an engineering ticket. But then when the ticket goes, there is an AI component that says that AI will go and refer to the intelligence that is available. It'll score the internet, it'll score some of our internal data, internal databases, and then come back and say, hey, we have seen this happen at four other locations, and this is how it was fixed, right? And then we provide that through our predictive maintenance module to say, hey, this is something that you can check out. This is probably how you need to go about fixing it. You can fix it yourself. It's probably a replacement of a filament, right? And then taking it to the next level to say, would you like me to automatically order that filament for you, right? Or whatever is the component that you need. And then the order comes in, and then tie that all in to say, okay, here's the YouTube video. I'm just using YouTube as an example, but here's the video that other people have gone through, and there is a 90% chance that this is your problem and this is how to fix it. Now that changes the game, right? So it's like earlier, somebody, they used to have to call, the manufacturer, set up a time, do whatever you need, go through their process, et cetera, et cetera. And then they'll be like, oh, you're out of warranty. You need to pay this much. We all know how this goes. But what if we give that just in time thing to say, hey, this doesn't seem to be a big deal. You probably, Mr. Engineer, could do it yourself. And this is probably how you have to do it, because this is how other companies, other hotels have done it. And this is 90% of the time, this would fix it. Now, there is a 10% of the time you might have to call, but at least we are kind of giving you that intelligence, leveraging our AI systems and large language models that says, here's something that you can try. That's how it translates to everyday operation.
Mhm. I love it. It's such a good example because it's somewhat futuristic but within reach, and it's making the employee smarter and more responsive as opposed to just taking their place with automation. It's really a beautiful example. I've been speaking with Vijay Raghavan, Senior Director, Hospitality Vertical Portfolio Leader at Honeywell. Vijay, do you have any closing thoughts for our hospitality technology audience. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, same here, and thank you for the opportunity. But if you ask me what I'm thinking about, I go back and think about how do we get the left hand to speak to the right hand, and this is what I constantly think about, right? So we've got, take Honeywell for example, we've got such a plethora of products. We've got fire life safety products. We've got camera and security systems. We've got a newly acquired Linnell S2 that is like the access control system. We've got Onity, which is the door lock system. We've got thermostats, which is the income system. So how do we leverage these and really sort of impact the outcomes that you just saw on your list of most important things? The four most important things: how do I enhance guest experience? How do I streamline my operations? How do I protect my data? And then the fourth one was how do I keep my staff and guests safe, right? The top four. And then how do I also reduce the cost of managing technology? So these five areas are the areas that I'm focused on, and I think all of us should be focused on as well in 2026. Is this is where you can make the most impact. And I'm so excited about it because Honeywell gives me this opportunity to kind of look at it through a clean slate to say, hey, how can we take these products? How can we put these things together? And what are some of the features that we need to develop that will actually bolster this or enhance the whole thing for ultimately impacting these outcomes, right? These five outcomes. So that's kind of what we are thinking about here as well. And I'm very excited for 2026, and thank you for giving me an opportunity with this webinar, Robert. Truly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Vijay. We really enjoyed this, and I know our hotel audience will as well.
Thank you.